Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Mile High Living. I'm Gina Bellich. Well, in the last 20 years, disability from back and neck pain has increased by 54%. Annual health care costs associated with back pain exceeds $50 billion. Now, these costs rise more than $100 billion when you include lost wages and decreased productivity. Now, if you're part of the 80% of the population suffering from back pain, guess what? Our first guest, Dr. Pinto, has some advice that could put your life back on track. Welcome, Dr. Pinto.
Thank you.
Here.
Always a pleasure.
All right, 30 years, more than 30 years, you've been doing this, right? Are there any new insights you can actually share with your profession? I'm sure it's changed over the years.
It has, and truthfully, in the last 3 decades, the levels of stress, injuries, recovery time have changed dramatically. Back then, it was easy. Nowadays, the higher levels of stress and injury just require a more detailed level of technology and apparatus.
Now, I'm always interested about this. What are some of the typical complaints that you usually hear from your patients?
Yeah, I wish there was typical. Actually, there are no typical. The days of simple neck and low back pain have given way to debilitating low back pain, sciatica, numbness and tingling. And the symptom levels have risen to the point where they can't work. They can't take care of their family, and then they also can't even participate in some of the simple things in life, like playing with their kids and recreational activities that make life worth living.
Well, some of the best testimonials I've ever heard have come from people you have treated. Let's go ahead and listen to some of them.
Thank you.
I was having severe acute intermittent pain, like a 10-inch needle being shoved into my lower back.
It was just a pinching. I had it running through my leg all the way to my toes.
I woke up one morning and I literally couldn't move. I couldn't get off the floor.
It was debilitating at moments.
Even now I have a 6-month-old. I couldn't lift her.
I couldn't move my hand. Everything was numb. I was out of work.
I did physical therapy, even surgery.
I tried acupuncture, a few other things. It just wasn't working. And so I called Dr. Pinto. Everybody knows he's the best in the business. And I'm like, help.
I loved immediately how he didn't do anything until he took an x-ray. He wanted to know what was going on.
His initial was, come bring me the MRIs and then we'll see if you're a candidate for the treatment. And I was.
In just a few short weeks, I can function again. I'm back to adjusting patients and functioning as a mother, because that's the biggest job that there is.
I feel very fortunate that if you work hard and follow the program, it works.
It's just made my whole life better.
I would absolutely recommend Dr. Pinto and his team. They're amazing. The staff is great.
Everything he does is to make you better.
I would recommend him to anybody. And I believe wholeheartedly in the system.
Dr. Pinto is the chiropractor's chiropractor.
The chiropractor's chiropractor. I just love that. When you have the endorsement of other people in your practice or people that do what you do, that's a great thing. Talk about how you go about diagnosing problems.
Sure. Diagnosing is pretty simple. We take a complete history, do a thorough examination. We'll do some high-end digital x-rays in the office. And then if indicated, we will order an MRI study of the patients. A lot of times we find that the injuries that show up involve the discs in the low back, herniations and bulges, which compress the sciatic nerve or the nerves in the arm, and it causes pain to the level that really people start having problems functioning.
So what are some of the things that people have tried prior to coming to see you?
It runs the gamut, the over-the-counter non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, the severe painkillers, muscle relaxers, even high-end narcotics. Many people have done epidural steroid injections, which, though they're not really FDA approved for use in spinal pain, they're used a lot. And sometimes they give temporary relief, but ultimately it usually doesn't fix the problem. And then a lot of times people have been offered surgery where sometimes they'll have to have their spine fused, which is pretty aggressive.
Oh yeah, that's awfully aggressive. Now you have the DRX 9000. I love just talking about this because it sounds so futuristic, but it obviously works for people. Talk about that.
Well, it does. It's been around for almost 2 decades. And what it does is it produces intermittent decompression on the specific disc that's involved. Typical treatments take about 30 minutes, and that negative pressure on the disc oscillating, it does 3 things. 1, as a patient, it feels fantastic. Number 2, that negative pressure actually helps to immobilize the disc back toward the center, taking the pressure off the nerves and causing more of a permanent correction. And then in the long run, patients they're able to decrease their treatment frequency to more of a periodic maintenance program. So that'll allow them to maintain a higher higher level of health, pretty much for as long as they choose. Our approach is traditionally a lot safer than the alternatives, plus it's also a lot more time and cost effective too.
Well, everyone loves that too. And when it comes to cost effectiveness, especially if you're already in pain, you don't want to have to feel the pain of the pocketbook. You've got a great special for our viewers today. Talk about that.
Sure, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's straightforward, simple with no holes. If you want, call the office, make an appointment today, for you or your family members. Bring in any studies you have, x-rays or MRIs, and we'll look them over. And just as a little tangent, we've been through a lot over the 4, 5, 6 months, whether it's financial or political, and it's taken its toll on people's health. So now as you start to come out of the craziness, I think that it's time for you, the listening audience, to take really good care of yourself. It's a good time to start.
Absolutely. And Dr. Pinto, what a great person, and a testament to you to have you on today to tell them that specifically. Thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and call this number, folks, 720-485-6894 for your free consultation at Pinto Chiropractic. Now, that's worth $325. If you're a candidate for treatment and are accepted for care, you'll receive $250 off your treatment plan. This is for the first 20 callers, so call now at 720-485-6894, or to learn more, visit pintochiropractic.com. They paid for today's segment. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.